So, okay, so we're here. We're welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. We're on the Sales Mastery lunchtime live session with myself. We've got Jim Ewan, we've got Robert Knott, and we've got Steve Baker here. We're expecting a few more, but if we don't, we've got the elite, clearly. So what I'm going to do is just share my screen. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Today's session sort of divided into two, really. I do a bit of a presentation talking about sales mastery and what I think should be available in terms of what we do and how we do it and how to improve what we do. And then we'll have a bit of an open forum, a Q&A, and not just asking me questions, but the one thing we've got here today is many, many years of experience. So we'll try and benefit from that. So as I say, the agenda for today is really simple. We've got my session, a Q&A, and then at the end of it, I'm going to offer you a one-to-one meeting. If you want to meet on a one-to-one basis, talk about your business, talk about your marketing. I want to stress, because a lot of people think, oh, yeah, it's a sales call, isn't it, Steve? No, it's not. I do genuinely will try to help you on a one-to-one basis to market your business. You can tell me what you're doing. I'll give you some thoughts in terms of how to improve what you do, which is sort of what I'm good at, I'd say. You know, I've been doing this now. It's just coming up on the 1st of May. It will be 29 years. I think I must have started very young. That's all I can say. And you know, in that time, the one thing I've become, I think, really good at is taking a look at marketing and sales systems, processes, and working out how you can improve the results that you get, which is basically what I do now for my clients. So if you want to book a meeting, you're very, very welcome to do so. So let's crack on. 5-step business growth system. I want to be really open and honest here. I pinched this idea from a guy called Daniel Priestley. He called it the 5 C's. I decided to rename it under my Results Mastery banner, but I just wanted to give him credit for it because I think it's a really important process in sales or in marketing that and one of the mistakes that I see so often is people connect to you wherever that might be, on your email list or on your LinkedIn is absolutely full of people who go, I get messages every day and they say something like, I was looking at your website, Steve, really interesting, would be great to connect. So I go, yes. And then 2 seconds later, literally, they send me an email that's about that long that there's no way they wrote in 2 seconds trying to sell me something. They just pitch me straight away. And for me, I just believe it takes more than that. You know, it takes time. It's building up I always remember listening to Jordan Belfont, who became famous for The Wolf of Wall Street. He was the wolf that Leonardo DiCaprio played. And he says it's really important to get what he calls 3 10s in terms of getting people to know you, like you, and trust you. Get a 10 out of 10 for you, then do the same thing for your products and services, and then the same for your company. And I think that's so true. You know, if you take, for example, with me, Apple, I know the company, I trust the company. I believe they produce great products. I know all their products are really good because I've bought most of them, with the exception of the Apple Watch, which I don't quite see the need for. And the only thing that moves me away from Apple is when I walk in that Apple shop, I don't know the shop assistant clearly, but what I do know is that person is probably highly trained, not on commission, and can answer all my questions. Whereas I go in for a different computer in a different shop, shall we say, and we don't always get that. So when I go to buy anything remotely IT, you know, I would never go anywhere else other than Apple. And that's a really important thing, I think. So let me just take you through this, and then we'll move on and talk a little bit about sales mastery. So the first thing we need to do, and it's one of the biggest problems that we all face in small business, is to develop a crowd. The biggest problem that we face is obscurity. Nobody's heard of us. Nobody's heard of me, you. When I say nobody, obviously, you know, we have. I can probably get a marketing message out now to about 80,000 business owners, which is pretty good, actually, you know, through my social media and my email and Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and so on and so forth. It's probably better than most, but not as good as it needs to be. Because, you know, if you just take the UK, there are 3 million businesses in the UK, and I can only market to 80,000 of them. Now, okay, a lot of them wouldn't be right for me, you know, butchers, bakers, candlestick makers. I don't deal with those, but there's still a whole range of businesses that if I could have their contact details and be able to market to them, that would be fantastic, let alone about the rest of the world. You know, I've worked in Singapore and I've got clients interestingly in my results mastery group. I've got one client who's in Switzerland. I've got another one in Dubai. I've got another one in Argentina, would you believe? How did I get those? By doing this, by developing my crowd on LinkedIn. And, you know, Ricardo's been working with me now for many, many months, probably about 6 or 7 months, and doing great. So number one is crowd development. Number two, it's no use just saying, aren't I popular? Yeah, I've got, you know, 14,000 contacts on LinkedIn if nobody's buying and nobody knows me. So I've got to build my reputation. I've got to possibly run events like this one, have forms, offer reports, and so on and so forth, to try and hook people or bring people into my world. Once I've done that, the next step, step 3, is to follow up with them. Pick up the phone. I've got a message on my phone here. I don't know whether you can see this. Oh no, I've turned my phone off. You can't. But it says on my mobile, pick me up and I'll make you money. And that is one of the biggest mistakes that people make right now. They don't pick up the phone, or they don't actually communicate often enough with the people who they're already in that database or connected to on LinkedIn. And it is a real big mistake. I see all the time people say, oh yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. And, you know, what do I do is I send a post out once a week, because I don't want to bombard people. Trust me, you're not. I send out between 5 and 10 posts every day. And I'd like to bet if you're connected to me on LinkedIn, you don't feel bombarded. Why? Because you hardly ever see my posts, because you're not on LinkedIn all day, every day, waiting for a post from Steve. I know that, and no, neither is anybody else. So I need to be on there and keep that marketing messages going and going and going. Once we've got that, we've got to, you know, turn that goodwill, those, you know, what I'm doing today is I'm coming here, I'm, you know, speaking to you guys. I'm going to push out the video to loads of people in the hope that I can get a few meetings. That's my objective. Now, whilst I said, you know, that meeting is not a sales meeting, and it's not, at the end of it, if you say, look, can you help me further, Steve? What am I going to say? You know what I'm going to say? Yeah, sure. Or perhaps I can. Yeah, let's talk about what you need and what I can do. So we've got to do that. So we've got to try and get that first sale. And I often talk to people about getting that first easy sale. Make it easy for people to get that sale, I think, is really important. Once you've done that, then the next step, step 5, is what Daniel calls, and I call, continuity. Getting that sale on an ongoing basis, getting people to buy from me again and again. I was at a seminar many years ago up in Carlisle, and I was saying the same thing. And the guy said to me, that doesn't apply to my business. I said, what do you do? He said, I'm a funeral director. He said, the thought of getting people to buy from me again and again is not really appropriate. I said, no, no, no. The guy in the box is not the customer. It's the other people, the potential customers. And that's what you need to focus on. He went, yeah, okay, yeah, I get that, Steve. Okay. So let's have a look at sales mastery then. How do you master sales? If I said to you, what is your conversion rate right now? You know, out of 100, if you get 100 meetings, or 100, if you get 100 inquiries, and that equals 10 meetings, and that equals 4 sales, then you've got a 4% conversion rate from inquiry to sale. If we're looking at measuring from meeting to sale, then you've got a 40% conversion rate. 4 out of 10 of those meetings have turned into a sale. So number one thing is you need to know what your rates are, what your conversion rates are. Because without that, how do you know how to improve it? Or if you change something, would it make any difference? So that is really, really fundamental to sales mastery, I suppose, or to increase in sales. So number one, first thing that I always do when I'm working with people is look at their system. What are they actually doing? What is your sales system? Do you have a written sales process? Because if you don't, but you did, you could improve what you do. A lot of people, for example, say to me things like, well, you know, when a lead comes in, I either call them up or I send them an email, dependent on how busy I am. Okay, so what happens if you send an email and they don't respond? Oh, I definitely call them. And how often would you do that? Oh, 2 or 3 or 4 times. And what happens if you don't get through? Well, if you don't get through, they're clearly not interested, and we'll put them on the back burner to get the quarterly newsletter. You with me? And that's not that far from what most people do. So my belief is look at what you're doing and work out how you can improve it. You probably heard many times that it takes 8 contacts to make a sale. And yet most people give up after 2 or 3 contacts. And that's where all the money is, after the 8th contact. A very good friend of mine, and somebody I know Jim knows, is Peter Thompson. And Peter says, keep going until they die or buy. Now that might be a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I don't know. I'm not actually, Peter's probably deadly serious with that, but I do believe, you know, having a process. You know, could you send them some testimonials? Could you email them some case studies? Could you perhaps send them a gift, a book, a report that you've written? You know, it could be a physical book. The other day I got this sent. I made an inquiry, and the guy sent me this together with how cool was this? I don't know whether you can see that, but it's a little stand for my phone, and he's put results mastery on the back of it. And this was just from an inquiry, and I'm thinking, wow, that's really good, isn't it? Well, yeah, how cool is that? So he sent me the little book with results mastery on it, and the pen holder, oh sorry, the phone holder, just as a thank you for my inquiry. Would that increase or reduce my chances of buying from him? Well, for me, definitely increase it. Definitely, because I'm already thinking he's a nice guy. And I'm also thinking I'm slightly indebted to him, which is the law of reciprocation. You know, he's already done something for me. So all things being equal, it's more likely I'd go with him. So step one really, again, is to work on your system, write it down, and then work out how you could improve it. Step two, have better sales training. You know, how often we'll talk about this after when we get together. You know, how much sales training do you do? I do it every day. I've been doing it every day for years and years and years. Train myself how to become better. I do it from 7 o'clock to 7:30 every morning by listening to, you know, these days it's so easy. You can read books, you can watch videos. I've actually got over there Jordan Belfont's straight line system. I've got a program that I bought many years ago called Mastering Influence by Tony Robbins. You know, the cost of those was probably somewhere in the region of about $2.5 grand. But you don't have to do that these days. You know, you can go onto YouTube and look at stuff, or you can buy, you know, programs and stuff for a lot less money than I paid for all those years ago. So, you know, work out what you need to improve. You know, if I said to you, I want to think about it, or I said to you, I haven't got the budget, or I can't afford it, or, you know, I need to speak to the wife, or I need to speak to the partner, or, you know, time's not right. What are your responses to those? Are you really good at responding to those things? Because if you're not, but you were, you could improve things. And by the way, if your conversion rate is 40% in meetings, if you could improve that to 60%, that's not a 20% growth in your business. Sorry, it's not a 20% growth in your conversion rate. More importantly, it's a 50% growth in your business. And it's one of the easiest, quickest, best ways of growing your business is to improve your conversion rates. Next one, make more calls. You know, how many phone calls do you make per day? If you're like most of the people I do, they go, don't really know, or I don't really make enough. No, I know I should do it really, Steve, but I don't. I don't like it, is truth. And that's true. And I hate cold calling, but I don't mind lukewarm calling, you know, following up with people that to some level know, like, and trust me. So my contacts on LinkedIn, people on my email database that I'm messaging once, twice a week, something like that. So, you know, pick up the phone, you know, do this lukewarm calling. You know, if you could make a list of 100 people that you could call right now in order to win business, who would they be? And why don't you set about doing it? 10 calls a day, we can all do that, no matter how busy we are. As step 4, as I've already alluded to, keep going until they die or buy. And it may be a bit tongue-in-cheek, but, you know, I really do believe that I always remember a little while ago, must be about a year ago now, I had a phone call from this lady. She called me and she said, I came along to a networking event that you ran in Swindon. And I'm thinking, I can't remember that. She said, yeah, you did. It was about 15 years ago. And you've called me many times since then, and you've sent me lots and lots of emails, and now I need your help. And I thought to myself, I cannot imagine how many emails that woman's had. She must have, I mean, I send out at least 2 a week. 2 a week for 52 weeks a year for 14 years, and now she wants my help. So it just shows you, you know, just keep going, keep on keeping on. It's so incredibly powerful and important, I believe. Okay, so the last one, again, I've sort of mentioned this concept of, you know, how do you improve your products and your services, and more importantly, the perception of those things. You know, how could you go onto your website today and go, right, I want to improve the perception of my products and services? Well, you could do things like you could improve the headline, you could improve the words that describe what you do or the product that you sell. You could add a video to make it more persuasive, because, you know, the written word's not as persuasive as when I can add passion and enthusiasm into my voice and so on and so forth. Or perhaps I could add testimonials. You know, they're really powerful, and even video testimonials. I could improve the call to action. I could put some sort of guarantee in it. There's loads of things I can do, and that's just in terms of your products. What about you on LinkedIn? Go to your LinkedIn profile. Is there anything you can do to make you look better, more presentable, more influential, and more of an authority, more of an expert in terms of what you do. I know Steve said, you know, that what he does is right at the top of the ladder. But for most people, they wouldn't know that until and unless Steve explains it. So really, really important, that one. So I hope that's been of value to you. There are loads of different things that I can do if you want to talk to me, as I mentioned. If you want to book a meeting, you're more than welcome. You don't have to, you know, and there's no obligation. There will, the one thing I will guarantee is there will be no hard sell. Okay, all there'll be is you and I talking about your business for 95% of the time. Normally, I do it online. So you go to steve-mills.com, click on one of the gold buttons there, and you can book a meeting with me at a time that's convenient to you. If you do that, we'll talk about you and your business, what you're doing in terms of your marketing, what your conversion rates are, how to improve, and so on and so forth. And then at the end, if you want any more help, I can talk to you about a variety of things that I can do for you. I hope that sounds fair. I think it does. If you want to get hold of me, there's all my contact details there. You can give me a call, you can email me. I've actually got two websites now. So Results-Mastery is more geared towards the training side, and the Steve Mills one is more geared towards the sort of marketing done for you products and so on and so forth. So that's it. That's my presentation. I hope you found it interesting. Open for questions. Either stunned or asleep. I'm not sure which it is.
When you do a call, you know, you're talking about sort of warm calls or lukewarm calls. Have you got a sort of opening gambit that seems to work for you?
Yeah, I have it, and it tends to vary. I'll give you a good example from LinkedIn. One of the big problems I think that people have with LinkedIn. A lot of people are on LinkedIn, virtually everybody in business. There are 30 million people on LinkedIn in business. And one of the problems is that they don't really win business on it. That's the truth. 98% of them don't win. In fact, it's probably higher than that. To be honest, it's probably 99.5% of people don't win any business on LinkedIn. Now, most of them don't win business because they don't do anything. It's like going, you know, being a member of the gym and never going down there, or going down there and chatting to somebody and, you know, having a jacuzzi. You don't really build those muscles. You need to build the muscle every day, you know, get heavier and heavier and more reps. And you know, that's how you win business on LinkedIn. I do believe, based on my success on LinkedIn, I've been very successful on LinkedIn over the years. I do believe that the number one thing you can do on LinkedIn is to pick up the phone. And how I do that, Robert, is I'd go, "Oh, hi, Robert, Steve Mills here. We just connected yesterday on LinkedIn." And I don't know about you, but often when people connect to me on LinkedIn, I never hear from them. So I always like to give people a quick call just to say hi, not to sell you anything, but just to say hello, find out about your business, tell you a little bit about me. Is that all right? Do you have a couple of minutes? And that's how I do it, in that slightly fun and typically people go, "Oh yeah, that's true, Steve." You often connect to people and then they never speak to you. They never said, "Oh, it's great, you know, it's great that you've called, you know," and and that's that, you know, going back to those 5 C's. That's that second step, isn't it? They're already in my list, but they don't know me, not really. And I've got to work on that. And I genuinely don't, you know, when I do make that call, I just ask them about themselves generally. So what are you doing? How long have you been on LinkedIn? What do you do? How's business? Well, what else do you do in marketing? You know, because you know I'm in marketing, right? Yeah. Oh, I do this. All right. How's that working? And I just, you know, that's how I do it. Just, again, it's a system. It's a process. The first thing I do is I send them a message. "Thanks for connecting." That's it. That is all the words. "Thanks for connecting. Best wishes, Steve." No
Do you
sales
do you
pitch, no nothing. And
and do you have a lot of people on LinkedIn coming to you without you knowing them?
yes, yeah, because I've got, I've been doing this for years, so I get probably, don't know, 10 to 20 people a day connecting to me.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I ask 10 people per day as well. But these are people who are just coming to me, and then I ask. So I'm probably growing by about 20 to 30 people every day, and we follow
Wow.
them up. We follow them all up, every one of them, and we add them into we get permission, but we add on that phone call towards the end. I go, oh, well, one final thing, Robert, would it be all right if I added you into my email system? And what we'll do is keep in regular contact with you, but providing you with lots of value, tips and hints on how you can improve your sales and marketing. Would that be okay? And 99% of people say, yeah, sure, Steve, no problem. Okay, some of them then unsubscribe, and that's just the world. But, it's constantly growing my email database, my social media database. And, again, it's all about the numbers, really.
Yeah, it is.
And so many people tell me, I get people telling me, I say, how long have you been in business now? Oh, 10 years. Oh, wow. So how many people are you connected to on LinkedIn? They go, well, about 150. I go, what the bleep you've been doing? you know, why is it only that? That's 15 people a year. you know, and that's an important step, I think, not only on LinkedIn, but on social media and email and, the people you can communicate with. Really, really important.
And when you've got them on your email list, have you got then the automatic messages that go out,
Yeah,
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 you have.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I use I'm just about to launch. I mentioned on the 1st of May, I'm 29 years. Well, on the 1st of May, I'm launching something called the Results Mastery Hub, which is a fantastic piece of software that does it's the best I've ever seen. And I'd love to tell you that it's something that I've developed, but it's not true. Okay. It's something that we're white labeling and we're selling it, but we're selling it cheaper than the company that actually owns it, because they allow us to do it. So watch this space. It'll be coming soon. It's called the Results Mastery Hub. If you go to, in fact, if you go to my steve-mills.com website, you'll see a page at the top called the Hub. Actually, I think it's just called Hub. So click on that, and there's a video there that you can watch that will show you and tell you all about it. And let me know if you want to talk about it. Honestly, Robert, it's bloody brilliant. It really is. It's the best I've ever seen. And I've used most CRM, email marketing automation, social media. It does everything. It's brilliant.
And is it available then for other people to use?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a marketing tool, effectively.
I'm going to call it the ultimate digital marketing tool. And I'm calling it that because I believe it is. I think it's fantastic.
Do you have to pay for it?
Yes.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. I'm telling you the price at the moment. It's going to be somewhere between, I don't know, 70 and 99 quid a month.
Okay.
A month.
A month.
It's worth a gazillion times more than that, really. I've used, what have I used? I've used HubSpot and used all that. That's £800 a month. I've used Infusionsoft, which is, I used to say that was the best. That's $299 per month. So this is like a bargain. But like most things, I'm going to say you get what you pay for. It's not quite true in this case. I think you're getting a lot more than you pay for. Honestly, it's brilliant. But if you want a demo, let me know and I'll set up a demo.
Okay, thank you.
I'm probably going to do one of these results mastery live sessions about it
Honest.
on the
Yeah.
first, on the
Yeah.
first. So as part of my celebration, I keep thinking, what am I going to do as part of my 29-year celebration? And one of it
Mm.
is to launch it. Another one is to do one of these about it. And the other one will be to drink lots of champagne with a bit of luck.
Mm.
Any other questions?
I'm interested, Jim, in how you market yourself, actually.
Yeah.
Very badly, very badly. It's one of the reasons that I came along today, just to see if Steve had any new ideas, because I've seen all his old ideas.
We've known
But,
how long, Jim? I'd dread to think.
oh God.
It must be so 29 years. I reckon it's about 27 years.
Well, I was going to say 25, but yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, and we've worked together off and on
Yeah.
here and there over the years, But basically, in fact, funnily enough, I've been inspired today to actually start doing some marketing, because I've been leaving everything to my agent.
Mm.
And the thing, agents are all very well, but it's not the same as getting in there yourself. And I used to contact casting agents regularly and send them little videos of stuff that I'd been in and stuff that I'd done and so on. And that's kind of died away over the last few years, because my agent has been getting me business, but he's now not getting me the business that I want. In fact, in the last year, maybe a bit longer, all I've done has been commercials, some internal, internal company things.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of work for the NHS, where they make little films to show people in training and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I want to get back into movies,
Yeah.
proper acting, as I call it, because commercials is all about, if you look right, you're in.
Yeah.
Does he look as though he could be this kid's grandfather?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does, right. You get the job.
Yeah.
But there's more to it. So I'm going to be talking to Steve. In fact, we're meeting at the end of May, aren't we?
We are. Yeah.
And
Have you got
I'd
a
be
website?
very interested in this ultimate digital marketing tool.
Yeah,
Terrible name, but sounds like a brilliant product.
it's difficult, isn't it, when you got something like that, because you think, oh yeah, right. He would say that, but I've never said it before about anything really. Certainly not as far as digital software is concerned, but this is just the biz. It really is.
Yeah, because it is a hassle, keep on emailing casting agents and stuff like that. Well, anything, as we all know, it's a real hassle to keep on keeping.
The biggest problem I've had is I use something for email, something else for CRM, then I got a social media automation, then I've got Calendly to do the meeting booking, and then I've got something else and something else. And the time I've done, I've got a list here actually. Here. I don't know if you can see that. So that's a list. That's everything that I'm paying for before. And as you see where I'm scrubbing them out, that's where I've just gone, right, I don't need that anymore. I'm getting rid of it. I'm paying £500 a month for bloody, excuse me, shouldn't swear on the thing, but for software, right? So I'm getting rid of all that. That'll save me £500. Interesting. Yeah, but I just go back to what you were saying, Jim. I'd say I'm not an expert in what you're doing by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know from your background and a little bit of my background the speaking circuit. Jim, a few years ago, used to be the president of the Professional Speakers Association. And we both knew then, as speakers, it's not so much, marketing yourself out into the world. It's all about who you know. And as Jim said, speaker bureaus, they could either market Steve Mills or they could market, you know, I was trying to think of some famous sports person or big, you know, they market Richard Branson. Which are they going to do? Well, they've got a, you know, much better chance of getting Richard Branson booked and probably earn much more commission than, you know, they're going to pay Steve Mills. That's a bit of a wide gap there, but you understand my meaning. And you've, you know, they're promoting speakers, and they've probably got 60 of them on their books. And I'm one of them, and you know, how much work are they going to get for me? Well, you know, I've probably done I don't know, somewhere in the region of about 40 paid speaking assignments in my career. It's never been a big part of what I do, but it's always been a very enjoyable part of what I do. And most of that has come from LinkedIn. Most of it has come from LinkedIn. So you know, I got the funniest one, right? The funniest one I ever had was this lady called Chen got all of it. And she went, "Hi, my name's Chen. I'd like to connect you on LinkedIn." So I went to have a look at her, and she was an admin assistant in Vietnam. And I'm thinking, you know, is it worth connecting? You know, don't want to work in Vietnam. She's only an admin assistant, you know. And I thought, well, I will do. So I connected to her. Minute later, she said, "Oh, thanks very much for connecting. We're looking at your profile, and we're looking for somebody to come over to Vietnam to do a 4-day seminar on marketing." So I thought, yay. So I responded with, yeah, love to do that. Very happy to. But I charge £2,000 a day. Is that okay? She goes, "Yeah, no problem." And that would be plus flights and accommodation. And she went, "Yeah, that's fine. Are you free on this date?" I think it was something like June, it was just before COVID. It was a couple of years before, maybe a year before COVID. And I found myself 8 weeks later flying to Vietnam. I tagged on a holiday at the end of it. And it's a really good story, that, because it just goes to show you never know. You know, it's easy to judge somebody and go, "Oh, they wouldn't be interested," and not persevere with them and not bother and so on. Because I never really thought that had come to anything, but you know, it did, and that's brilliant. And we've all had the other way around, where we know that person's going to buy from us. They definitely will, and then they never do. So you know, certainly in my experience anyway. Right, we're just about we scheduled to go till 1:45. It's 12:44. So if there's no further questions, I'd just like to thank you for being here. If you want to book a meeting, you'd be very welcome to. As Jim said, I'm seeing him anyway at the end of May. He's coming to the beautiful Isle of Wight. Where I moved to 18 months ago. They told me it was the sunniest place in Britain, and it's pretty much rained since I've got here. So hopefully Jim will bring the sunshine.
I'll do my best, Steve.
Okay. All right, guys, thanks ever so much, and look forward to speaking to you soon.
Sorry, before you go, aren't the Isles of Scilly the hottest place in the UK?
Over here, everybody says it's the Isle of Wight.
Yeah, they've probably got the wrong island.
Yeah, that was it. That's it. It's the wrong place. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I don't know. I'd say it's Sheffield. Sheffield is the hottest place in England.
For other reasons. For other reasons.
Only if you're in a foundry, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, guys.
Thank
you.
Steve. Brilliant.
Bye.
Bye.